Okay guys, we're back. Today what I'm going to show you is acoustical or popcorn ceilings, right? In our previous video I did all this masking off, kind of looks crazy. But we're going to start first with mixing up, okay? So what we're going to do first is I have some water in here, and this is, it's a Homax ceiling texture. Again, you guys can use the can. If it's not a big patch, you guys can use the can. If it's your house, you're not doing it for a customer, and you just want to get the repair taken care of, you know, practice, you know, the cans, I think they're about 30 bucks and they give you a pretty good size one. You can practice in some non-obvious areas like a closet or something. And if it's something that's similar to what you're trying to fix, go ahead and use the patch. It's going to be the easiest, least expensive, okay? It's going to be the easiest and least expensive. However, I do a lot of these acoustical repairs. It's kind of weird that people still have it in their house and people still want it, and I'm always trying to upsell them on acoustical removal. I try to upsell them on that, but they like it. They just want to repair, so no problem. So I buy the box and I use it with my hopper, okay? Now when I first started off, I totally messed up. I didn't read the instructions. I hadn't sprayed this before because nobody does popcorn, right? I was always taking it off. I was never putting it back on. Well, I thought you mix this with mud. No, 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 do not use mud. Do not use the compound. You're just gonna use this, and you're gonna use some water, right? So again, it tells you the proportion. I kind of have free reign here because there is no texture obviously up there. Now, if I'm in somebody's house, I'll add a little bit and I'll test an area to see if I need to make it thicker or thinner. But basically all you're gonna do, and because I'm not mixing a big old batch here, right? My bad, apologize. I'm just gonna use my little drill. That's what I do a lot of times when I'm mixing up just a little hopper full for patches. I don't use a big paddle. I do have a big paddle. I showed you. Now this is if I'm gonna mix up a full bucket or something. And even though I'm mixing up in a bucket, I'm not going to mix up the whole bucket, right? For sample purposes only. So this is the aggregate that you're gonna use, okay? It comes in a pouch. And it literally, all it is just the, it's just like what you see on your ceiling if it crumbles. I don't know, I'm not adding. Just gonna... So one thing that it does say on this box, and this box is all jacked up, you're supposed to let it set for a couple minutes, okay? Because you see it's just a powder, right? So what's gonna happen is it's gonna thicken up in the water. It's gonna absorb the water and the moisture, and then it makes those little balls, right? Those little acoustical balls, those little things that we like to rub our fingers on, and it all falls in our hair when we were kids and breathe in asbestos because it had little shiny glittery stuff on the ceiling. I know you remember your grandma, grandpa's house. My grandma, grandpa's house had it. You know, we jump on the bed and swipe it, and oh, everybody's got asbestos, yay, okay. So anyways, so a tip on that one. If your house was built before 1978, beautiful, wonderful year, right? That's the year I was born. If your house was built before 1978, it has asbestos. It has it, unless it was removed at some point, but it has it. They outlawed asbestos, I believe, in 79. So from 79 going forward, there is no more asbestos in anything. I mean, they used it for everything because it was in their glue for their flooring tiles. It was in their drywall, it was in the insulation, it was in the ductwork, it was in this popcorn ceiling. It was, I mean, it was the greatest thing ever because they used it in everything. They just didn't know that it caused all kinds of femiona, or I don't even know how to say it. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, all right. So it's been sitting here for a minute, probably not long enough, but you guys get the idea. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. And right now, it kind of looks like avena, or what you, I don't know, what's cream of wheat, right? So you want it to look more oatmeal-y, okay? So you just want it to look more like oatmeal, not like cream of wheat. And if you prefer, you know, use a mask. I got so much stuff up my nose. I've had worse. Just kidding. Hey, kids, you know, come on, don't do it at home. So before I shot these videos, I was like always nervous and just like, oh, I'm so timid, right? And now by the, I don't know how many episodes we're in here, I'm just a fool. I mean, this is me, right? So it is what it is. You're gonna love me or you hate me, you can't have both. Okay, so that's mixed up. I just cleaned off my drill a little bit in the bucket of water. There's actually a thing in the paint section. It's to mix up paint, but it works really good for small patches. I love it. I had another one, but I didn't clean it up and I jacked it up. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna start my compressor, and then I'm gonna let it run because it's gonna be too loud. I'm gonna let this sit mixed up in the bucket for a minute, and then I'll come back. Okay guys, so I got the acoustical mixed up, I got the compressor going. Hopefully it doesn't turn on while I'm talking, but a couple things. So normally it'll say between like, I think 60 and 90 for depending on what kind of texture you're doing. Again, what I do is I just use my compressor in between 90 and 120, maybe I guess it's around 100 PSI. Your compressor is gonna vary, it's just gonna vary. So what I do, where I know mine's set at, is about 100. I try not to go past 120 because that's just too high sometimes. I try not to go under 90 because that just shoots it too heavy. If I'm past 120, it'll shoot almost a mist. If I'm at 90, it just shoots blobs, right? So I try to keep it at 100. And what I do on here is I have my little controller, this little button right here. And by moving it up and down, that controls the airflow of how much air comes in and out to match the pattern. And I'll just shoot a little bit on the side first to see if it matches what I'm trying to match up. So in this instance, again, I don't have to do that because there's nothing on there. And then I also want to show you guys, let me take you off of here real quick. Okay, so as you can see in this bucket, see how it's kind of like avena, cream of wheat, a little bit more like oatmeal, right? You see the balls on the side, you can see all the little specks, that's what we're gonna shoot out. Okay, so I'm gonna fill this up and then I'm gonna turn on the rig. We're gonna shoot the texture up there. I'm not gonna talk during it because you're not gonna hear it with the compressor on anyways. So let's get to that. like I said before, it's a lot of masking for a little bit of spraying. It's not a whole lot of spraying that I have to do. But it is super messy. I'm gonna let this dry, and while I'm doing that, I'm gonna clean off the walls. It's dripping all over me, man. Okay, so as you can see in here, you see those little balls. Once it starts drying up, the balls become more predominant, and you can see them a lot better. So that's gonna take overnight to dry. So the next one I wanna set up is I wanna start using the other rig to show you some other types of textures, and that way we can compare them, right? So let me get that set up. And then we'll get to that video.